Hi everyone, this is AJ and welcome back to the channel. I've got a new pickup and review and 4K review for you today, that being for the 1980 movie Alligator. Yeah, so let's get into it. Okay, so I had these arrive and I did do an opening video for them, which I'd done yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, I watched Alligator last night. Subsequently, I've deleted the video today, so I'm going to give you a quick show of these. And I'm going to review Alligator. I'm going to review it as a film, and I'm going to tell you about the 4K transfer as well. I pre-ordered these two films from America. They were posted on the 22nd of February, only to find out last week, Wednesday, that they'd been delayed. And speaking to Amazon in America, the delay was on the American side of the pond. They hadn't dispatched America. I wasn't too happy, obviously, but whatever they'd done, they got here on Saturday. They arrived Saturday. I didn't open them until Sunday, after I'd filmed my weekly pickup video, because I didn't expect to be getting anything else on Saturday come through. Lo and behold, these turn up. So yeah, so that's why they're not part of my weekly pickup, which will be next week anyway. So, and I have also done an opening for these, but like I said, I deleted the video. So we're going to take a look anyway. So I got Alligator, which is the Scream Factory 4K release from the United States. Now, this is a 3-disc set, and it contains... On disc 1 is the theatrical version, a new 4K scan from the original negative, with audio commentary with director Lewis Teague and actor Robert Forster. Disc 2 contains the theatrical version again, Blu-ray theatrical version, with new 4K scan from the original negative, new interview with actress Robin Riker, new interview with Lewis Teague, new interview with special effects artist Robert Short, audio commentary with Lewis Teague and Robert Forster, interview with scriptwriter John Sayles, teaser trailer, theatrical trailer, TV spots, trailers from Hell, filmmaker Karen Smart and Alligator. And disc 3 contains the television version, a new 4K scan from the original camera negative with additional footage scanned from an interpositive. Yeah, so you got the TV version on there as well. Now the TV version runs at 98 minutes, the standard theatrical version at 90 minutes. I watched the theatrical version first. That's what I'll be reviewing, because that's the proper version, so to speak. The TV version we will talk about a little bit later on. But yeah, so Alligator, obviously it comes in a lovely slip with a black case, because it's obviously 4K. And inside you have disc 1, which is still sat in the player downstairs, so ignore that. Disc 2 and disc 3. Disc 2 has got the the VHS cover, the original poster, as I knew it back in the day. And then the other film that I got was the 1991 sequel, Blu-ray version, no slip or anything like that. Alligator 2, The Mutation. Yeah, so these films I loved back in the day. As a youngster, I loved Alligator. I thought it was fantastic, because I love that sort of film. Now, I haven't seen Alligator by yesterday. Hadn't seen it since the days of VHS. Yeah, never had it on Blu-ray. Yeah, and to see it come out on 4K was fantastic. Although I was a little bit concerned because, like I said, I was very young when I last saw it. Early 80s, mid 80s. Probably in the 90s I probably saw it a little bit. But I had no memory of it, no recollection. So it could very easily have been an extremely bad movie. So anyway, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to review the movie, my thoughts on the movie. Then I'll give you my thoughts on the 4K stuff as well. So obviously this film came out in 1980 with a runtime of 1 hour and 30 minutes and a budget of 1.5 million. The movie stars Robert Forster as David, who unfortunately we lost in 2019. He passed away. Robin Riker plays a character called Marissa. There are a wealth of other characters within the film propping up proceedings also. The film was directed by Lewis Teague, from a story by Frank Ray Pirelli and a screenplay by John Sayles. Music within the film is done by Craig Huxley, but under the name of Hundley. Craig Hundley. Yeah, there we go. So this film, the film's about a baby alligator. Baby alligator gets dropped in the sewer. 12 years later, Robert Forster is a police officer, David, whose dead bodies are turning up, body parts are turning up, shall we say, and this alligator has thrived down in the sewers. It's lived because there's a sort of company that's playing around with hormones on animals, and when the test subjects pass away and that, they lob them down into the sewers. The alligator's eating these, and because of the hormones that have been injected into these animals, it's made the alligator grow massive. Yeah, very, very big. So he goes investigating, obviously because people going missing, animals are going missing, all this sort of thing, and they go down in the sewer. His cop buddy gets killed by an alligator. I think his name's Kelly. And thusly, it's basically Jaws with an alligator, isn't it? Come on now. That's what the film is. And it's basically them trying to find this alligator and stop this alligator. The alligator ends up bursting out of the sewers, out of a manhole, up through the pavement, goes on a killing spree, heads back into the sewers until they manage to blow it up. Yeah, obviously as this is going on, there's a little bit of a sort of love, a relationship between David and Marissa and all this sort of thing going on. David gets kicked off of the police. He has to do it sort of solo. Do you know what I mean? Without the police's help. You know, yeah, all that sort of affair. So that's your basic story for the film. So I stuck this film in again after all these years, decades of not seeing it, and as a film, I thought it was fantastic. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. It took me back to when I was watching it as a kid, and you know what? It was better now than what I remember it back then. I was intrigued. I loved it. I was. The filmmaking was just fantastic, phenomenal, and I'll get into that in a bit. It was just a very, very enjoyable film for me. One of my favourites as a youngster, and I'm so glad that I've now got it on 4K and that I can revisit this film. It hasn't lost its charm at all. You know, the soundtrack is very good by Craig Huxley, or Hundley, whatever you want to call him. He's still working today in film. He's actually working on. Most recently he's worked on something like The Orville. Yeah, the TV series in the sound department. He's done a lot of work. He's keeping himself busy. Yeah, you know, the acting within the film is what you expect. Robert Forster's very good. You know, he always has been. He's got a great screen presence. He's very good. And Robin Riker's very good. There are some actors around them where, you know, the acting's a bit sort of questionable and this sort of a thing. But the direction of the film is suspenseful enough. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. And it's filmed, you know, very, very nicely. It looks great. It's a fantastic film. Now, I'm going to get into my thoughts on the 4K scan, but before I do, I'm going to give you a little bit of trivia on the film. So let's get into my trivia section before my 4K review. Okay. Robert Forster improvised a lot of his jokes on this film. A lot of jokes within the film fall around Robert Forster's receding hairline, and all these jokes were actually improvised by Robert Forster himself, and they were used within the film. They were written into the script and used. Yeah, there we go. Now, the musical score by Craig Huxley. James Horner, the great James Horner, was the first choice to do the musical score for this film, and he did actually write a full score for the movie. But unfortunately, because of a strike, the score couldn't be used, and they had to go to their fallback position and use Craig Huxley, who gave a decent enough score for the movie. But I would really love to have seen James Horner's, or heard James Horner's score for the film, because James Horner is was a fantastic composer. Some of the best music in film has been done by him. Now, Bryan Cranston, who you will know from Breaking Bad, yes, he actually worked on this film in the production department as a production assistant in the special effects department. There you go, a little bit of every day's a school day, isn't it? And Ramoa, the name of the alligator itself was a big mechanical alligator, in part, and much like Jaws, they had issue with it operating and breaking down, thus forcing the director to improvise some of how he filmed the film. So the alligator wasn't in it as much as it was, and all this sort of a thing. Now, the special effects with the alligator in the film, you do see the full size mechanical alligator at times. There are parts where you've just got an alligator head close up, which look really good. Parts when you've got just a tail doing stuff, that looks really good. And then they have relied on miniatures. Now, I love miniature work. I think it looks fantastic. It's obvious when you've got miniature work, but when you've got a real life alligator crawling around like miniature gardens and going into a miniature pond and this sort of a thing with miniature lamps, you know, and coming up out of a miniature manhole cover where the concrete's breaking up and all this, it looks fantastic. It just adds to the charm of this film. It is superb, and I love it. My last bit of trivia for you, to do with the TV version. Like I said earlier, I would come back to it. TV version running, was it about 7-9 minutes longer, something like that? Yeah, obviously when films sometimes go to TV, it's happened a few times, quite a few films, additional material is put in. And this is to sort of increase the length, to take into account ad breaks, and to make it fit into a certain time slot. Now, Alligator obviously was no exception to this. It did have bits put back in for the TV, which are on a 4K version in this box set. Fantastic. But there is one scene that was omitted and added into the TV series where the alligator, this woman's in a garden with her baby and she's hanging up some washing. And she gets a phone call. She goes back in the house. The baby's left there in the garden. And the alligator comes crashing through. She hears the crashing. She goes out. She's screaming, this sort of thing. 'Cause the child's missing. The baby's missing. But then she does find the baby underneath the sort of washing basket, safe. The alligator hasn't eaten the baby. That would have been a bit too harsh to do. But there is a scene in the film where a little kid is pushed into a swimming pool. I'm talking about a young kid, and he is eaten by the alligator. But yeah, so that scene with the baby, that was omitted from the the theatrical version. It was in the TV version, thus giving you a longer film. But there's other scenes as well, obviously. But yeah, so that was it for my trivia. Anyway, so a little bit about the 4K transfer for the movie. Okay, so the 4K transfer. Now, if you're a grain lover, you'll be happy because there are some parts in the film where the grain is quite noticeable. Not all the way through. I was very surprised, actually. The colours pop out of the screen. You know, it's not an overly colourful film, don't get me wrong, but when you've got reds on the screen and things like this, they do show up. They do show that you know, it's a very crisp, clean picture. It looks far better than what I thought it would have done, because my memory of the film is hazy anyway, and I never realised the film was, you know, as good as what it was, like I said. And so it's a fantastic transfer. Obviously it's going to be far superior than anything else that's available for it, and it's one that I'd highly recommend. You know, it's not going to win any awards or anything like that, if there's awards for transfers, but it's a very good transfer nonetheless, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time rewatching the film. So anyways, this is AJ. That was just my quick talk on the movie Alligator from 1980. What can I say? Thank you for watching. If you haven't hit the subscribe button already, why not do so, and come join me over on the channel. I've got a lot of content going on. Leave me a comment if you so wish, and hit the notification bell. Why not? It's AJ. Thanks for watching. See you later all. Take care and goodbye.